All Eyez on Me movie, which is Tupac's biopic, dropped Friday, June 16th. It was the legend's birthday, and the internet went into a frenzy. There were critics of all sorts disappointed that certain things were not included in the movie. Me and myself, I liked the movie. I believe they did a good job capturing the essence of who Tupac was and what he had to go through. I'm going to detail my review of the movie in another video aside from this one. Anyways, I understand that the movie was only 2 hours and they can't fit every single little thing in a 2-hour movie. I get that totally. However, the things that make these types of movie great is because we all knew and we loved Tupac and we know his music through and through. I knew his music. I grew up with his music, so I'm a huge fan of Tupac. He was played in my house heavily. But there are certain aspects of Tupac's life that the majority don't know about. You need that wow factor in there, you know? The thing that makes you leave the theater with the, dang, I didn't know that. So being that they showed him in jail for the rape assault and the movie was basically shaped around the interview in which he had while he was incarcerated, I felt like it was kind of crazy that they didn't show Tupac's wife, who he was married to at the time that he was in prison. A lot of people don't know that Tupac was married to a woman by the name of Keisha Morris, who later got their marriage annulled. And since you are more than likely unaware of her story, I'm going to share it with you. Here's the interview she did, and then after the interview, I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more.
He was a gangster rapper to the core, or was he? His ex-wife, Keisha Morris Shakur, says she saw another side to the man she married in jail after a year of dating. Keisha says it was like any other normal relationship.
We argued just like everyone else, you know. I would have to wake him up because he did not like to be woken up, you know, wake him up and get his clothes ready and iron and prepare his breakfast.
And you wrecked a couple of his cars?
Yeah, I wrecked one car.
Yes, she wrecked his car. Then he bought her another BMW, a 5-carat diamond ring, and supported her financially. But Keisha says she maintained her independence.
I had a job throughout the whole relationship. You know, I've never just said, oh, well, you know, I have him, let me just quit, you know, and depend on him. No, it was never. Even if that was the case and he did want me to quit my job or anything like that, I would be so miserable.
Things began to change when Tupac went to jail for sexual assault.
It was something totally different.
Well, you were on the phone, and he says, hook me up with Mary or whatever the girl's name is. And he talks to this girl, and he says things to her, which he should only be saying to you. What do you say to Tupac during this conversation? And you're listening
I wish him luck. I wish him luck. I'm not going to force him to be with me or anything like that. If that's what he wanted, I support whatever he did.
Now, you got the marriage annulled. Was that your idea or Tupac's idea, and why did you have an annulment?
My lawyers said that it would be best for me because I was concerned with court cases and tax situations, so I just didn't want to be responsible for any of, you know, of being sued for anything.
So you were afraid of his mounting debts and...
I wouldn't say debts, but I just didn't want to be responsible for anything that, you know, that happened before me.
Okay. Keisha Morris sat with XXL Mag for their September 2011 issue where she detailed her relationship with Tupac. Love is not enough. Tupac's first and only wife, Keisha Morris, shares her tale of puppy love, a short-lived marriage, and an eternal bond. So I'm going to start at a point in this article and then go from there. The first and only wife of Tupac Shakur hasn't done any interviews since the 2003 release of the biography Tupac Resurrection, in which she felt she was unfairly portrayed. As an educator with a master's degree and a mother of two, the New York City native also feels worlds removed from the intense life she shared with Pac back when she was 20 and he was 21. So in the article, she shares photos of her and Tupac. It's a full article. I think I'm going to probably post it on my page somehow in some capacity. But I'm just going to highlight a few things that she said in the article. The interviewer asked, before Tupac went to jail, he proposed to you and then you two got married 4 months after he went in. I just didn't feel like, okay, now that you might be going to jail, I don't know if I even want to be a part of you or deal with this. We got married April 29th, 1995. For him, it was more like, I don't want you saying you're my girlfriend. I want people to take you seriously and let them know that you're my wife. Then they asked, how often did you visit him? His thing was he wanted to visit every day so he can get out of that cell. It was hard. It was such a dramatic process, like, oh my God, I dreaded to do it. But you know, I did it. If I wasn't able to be there, I would make sure that someone else was there.
That party, Tupac Shakur was there. You know, he was just released from prison last week and looking pretty good for somebody who's been in the slammer. Anyway, he told me his 4-month marriage is overdone, kaput, and it's okay, though, because he's going to concentrate on his career for a while, which is probably a good idea. We'll have more on that later.
Then they asked, your marriage was annulled 10 months later, not long after he got out of jail. What happened? I thought that things were changing, that he changed. Things were getting very different once he got bail. And I felt like I wasn't needed anymore. It wasn't a good feeling. Okay, of course you don't know from being so young, but I just felt like, wow, okay, it was over. Like, okay, I don't need you anymore. I'm getting out. That's it. What was the relationship between you guys after the marriage was annulled? It was like, you know, you move on, I move on, that's it. But the funny thing is that he would still call me and leave messages and say, listen to this song, or how are you? It's Tupac. So he always kept me like, it's going to be all right. I remember him specifically saying, you don't understand now, but you'll understand later, because he always had this notion that we were going to get back together. So I remember him telling me he didn't want to damage me. He didn't want me to get hurt in any of whatever was going on with him, so he'd rather leave me alone. Was I hurt? Absolutely. Did I feel like I was used? Absolutely. But I understand now. Am I angry? Absolutely not. But when you're young, you do so many things, you know? How many times your parents tell you not to do something and you do the opposite? It's life lessons. It's growing up for you. I knew Tupac. No one can take that away. I really knew him, and he would never hurt me. Tupac kept in contact with Keisha up until his untimely death. In fact, she recalled the last time she saw him, just days before the night he tragically lost his life. She said, he came into New York. I heard he was here, but I didn't try to reach him. When I came off work, he left me a message and was like, Keisha, I'm in New York. Call me. I'm at the Hotel Nico. I want you to come down here. And I was just like, here we go. We saw each other prior to this, but this was the final time I saw him alive and well. I was like, oh no, not again. We were on the phone for half an hour. I was like, but why? We're divorced. We don't have anything. And he was like, you will always be Mrs. Shakur. So that's a little background on his ex-wife, or the only wife that he had. I feel like since the movie was already shaped around him being in prison, they had pretty much like flashes of things that happened while he was in prison. I felt like it would have been really interesting for the audience to know about Keisha, because that was a very important time in his life. That was when he was at his lowest. Some say, well, he only married her because he was in jail, blah, blah, blah. He could have married a million other hers, and he chose to marry Keisha out of all the other women. They should have included that part, because a lot of people don't know about Keisha. I myself, I didn't even know about Keisha, and I love Tupac. Like, I really love Tupac. I was having a conversation with my cousin, and she was telling me about Keisha, and I'm like, I love Tupac so much, I can't believe that I didn't know about her. So I thought it would be cool to share with you guys about Keisha. Also, don't just watch the video. Make sure to comment. Let me know what you think. Did you know about Keisha? This video was brought to you by LeClairCouture.com. Head on over to www.LaClairCouture.com. There are very affordable and reasonable women's fashion. Head on over there right now and take a look and get something nice for yourself.